talking about Ireland and language and the influence it has had on the culture and what is unique about the Irish language and some common idioms that are often used in the Irish language.
Irish Gaelic is an important language because the culture is the first national language of the Republic of Ireland. Also, communication style is different. The Irish have turned speaking into art. How you speak says a lot about you in Ireland. The Irish appreciate the modesty and can be suspicious of people who are loud and tend to brag. They just stand up disliking the superiority of the complex of sort. So this is an example of when discussing your professional achievements, it is best to casually insert an information short snippets during several conversations rather than embracing a long centering outline of your success. Communication styles vary from direct to indirect depending upon who is being spoken to. As being said through Gert Hofstede, culture values a long-term orientation. Ireland has a low score of 24. People in such societies have a strong concern in the absolute culture. However, the Irish culture is a stronger culture value to cherish politeness over truth. This also means that you may not easily receive a direct response when you are being spoken to. Listen closely. A great deal may be implied beyond what is actually being said. For example, if someone becomes silent before agreeing, they have probably said no. They may also give a non-committal response. This may be due to the fact that the Gaelic language does not have the words to yes or no. There is a tendency to use understatement or indirect communication rather than to say something that you might be continuous. Generally speaking, they do not like confrontation and prefer to avoid conflict, which they attempt to avoid by being humorous, showing good manners. This is a good example of the way the Irish tend to express their culture values through their verbal and nonverbal languages.
The Irish language has three main dialects. Those dialects include Munster, which is in the south, and Kerry, Cork, and Waterford. In the west, there is Connacht Irish, which is found in Galloway and the Aran Islands. The difference between the Irish culture and the American culture is that we're used to the way we use symbolic expressions. For example, the way we label our male and female bathrooms could be different in Ireland, which they are. The M on the door stands for the word mana, and the F stands for fur, which means men. So mana means women in Irish, and fur means male. So the Irish word order is shared by only 9% of the world's languages. While in English we would say, I always speak Irish, the Irish equivalent word use would be a verb, subject, object structure, making it speak I Irish always. Today, French and English are the most common used languages across the Ireland culture. According to the census figure for the Republic of Ireland, 1 million people can speak Irish competently, but about half of them only use it on the daily. This may seem like a large portion of the population, however, it is actually only 1/4 of the Irish population, which currently there are about 4,700,000 people living in Ireland today. So that's just a little brief summary of the Irish language. On to Carrie.
Hello, today I'm going to be talking about idioms, which are a group of words which the meaning is not necessarily deductible from those individual words. For example, in the United States, it's common for us to say it's raining cats and dogs, which does not literally mean that it's raining cats and dogs, but that it's pouring down rain. So, one example of a popular Irish idiom is blown in, which in French means souffler dans, and in Irish Gaelic, it is this word right here. So in a sentence, it is commonly used as, this man was just blown in from Mexico or California, or something like that, as in reference to a traveler from a different place. And it means in Irish that it is a stranger or foreigner, basically anybody whose ancestors have not lived within the site of the parish church for at least 10 generations. Gert Hofstede, a Dutch social psychologist, presented this in terms of long-term orientation. He said that Ireland has a low score of 24, which means that they are a very normative culture, and that means that they have a great respect for traditions. Another common Irish idiom is soft old day, which in French is vieux temps d'eau. and in Irish Gaelic is this word right here. So soft old day is an Irish way of saying bad weather. But since the Irish don't like to have negative influences on their language, instead they just call it a soft old day. This is a representation of Gert Hofstede's cultural dimensions theory of indulgence, where the Irish score a score of 65, which basically just means that they enjoy life and having fun, and they like to have an optimistic view on their language and a positive attitude. On the last idiom, it basically applies to any description of distances, direction, and time. So for example, an Irish idiom is called the Irish mile, which is a very flexible representation of how fluid their time is. In French, it's called le mille irlandais, and in Irish Gaelic, it is this word right here. And it basically just means that locals downplay distance to avoid discouraging walkers from direct directions. Instead, they might kind of lead the travelers astray by saying, just turn left where the dog usually sits. This is a good representation also of Gert Hofstede's indulgence, as it represents how the Irish place a higher degree of importance on leisure time and act as they please rather than giving direct directions and always being in a hurry. So that's just a little summation of Irish idioms today, and I hope you enjoy our video in learning about the Irish language. Are you freaking kidding me? Sorry.
Am I going?
Yeah, I know.
Led by Gert Hofstede. Coach,